Good morning, classmates. Good morning, ma'am. So I am LykaMae, a Maravillas, a student in Master of Arts in Reading Education. So this is the continuation of our report on the effective practices in reading instruction for adolescent learners. So my focus is on the effective practices in reading instruction beyond formal learning, after-class reading programs or intervention, and the school-based or community-based reading or literacy programs. So let's start. Let's start with effective practices in reading instruction beyond formal learning. First, provide explicit vocabulary instruction. Provide repeated exposure to new words in multiple contexts and allow sufficient practice sessions in vocabulary instruction. Give sufficient opportunities to use new vocabulary in a variety of contexts through activities such as discussion, writing, and extended reading. Last, provide students with strategies to make them independent vocabulary learners. Next is to provide direct and explicit comprehension strategy instruction. Make sure that the text is appropriate for students' reading level. Provide opportunities for extended discussion of text meaning and interpretation. Last, increases student motivation and engagement in literacy learning. Under this, provide a positive learning environment that promotes student autonomy in learning and make literacy experiences more relevant to student interests, everyday life, or important current events or trends. Next is make available intensive individualized interventions for struggling readers that can be provided by qualified specialists. Use reliable screening assessments for identify students with reading difficulties and follow up with formal and informal assessments to pinpoint each student's instructional needs. Select an intervention that provides an explicit instructional focus to meet each student's identified learning needs. And provide interventions where intensiveness matches the student needs. The greater the instructional need and the more intensive the intervention. Assuming a high level of instructional quality, the intensity of interventions is related most directly to the size of instructional groups and amount of instructional time. So that is why an assessment tool before giving an intervention is very important. Next is the after class. Let's proceed to the after class reading programs or intervention and the school-based or community-based reading or literacy program. The first one is an after-school homework. So giving reading passages with comprehension questions to improve students' ability to understand written text, providing reading materials and worksheets to students, and giving the appropriate reading material or worksheets that will improve the specific reading skills of the students. Next is the regular reading practice outside of school. So reading is a skill, and then the more it is practiced, the better a learner will become at it. Reading practice outside of school, at home, especially with family and in community gathering places, for example, increases learners' attainment of reading skills and helps foster a culture of literacy. In contexts where there is a lack of reading proficiency, families and communities can still help children gain literacy skills such as oral fluency, listening comprehension, and a sense of the story by speaking with children and telling them stories. So they say literate family members can be provided with tools, training, and guides to help learners practice their reading. And illiterate family members can be provided strategies and tips on engaging with learners to encourage them to practice reading. Home to school routines and materials where a learner is expected to bring something home from school every day and accomplish a task with a family member for reading practice. It has have been shown to improve learner outcomes. And at-home routines for illiterate families such as oral storytelling time or listening together and discussing a radio broadcast meant to increase vocabulary have also been shown to support literacy development. Next is to support student autonomy, as I have said a while ago. When students choose what they read, what activities they engage in related to reading, and with whom they work, their motivation increases, as does the time they spend reading. So here are the recommended instructional practices. First, provide opportunities for students to choose which text they read by offering a list of appropriate readings. Students who can select their own reading material use more effective reading strategies and perform better on tests of comprehension. Next, give students control over some aspects of the task, such as where to work in the classroom or outside the classroom, and what type of product to produce, example, an essay or a poster, and which subjects to pursue. Next is to allow students to select partners, join groups, or work alone. So, dito, minsan mas yung mga high school students ay mas ginaganahan during collaborative or group works. So, eto na po, speaking of collaborative and group work. So, adolescents are motivated by working together. According to Ivy 1999 and Nichols and Miller 1994, when students can collaborate socially on reading and reading-related tasks, they find the work more motivating and often continue working even after completing the assigned task, according to Guthrie and Hamnick 2004. Allow students to collaborate by reading together, sharing information, and explaining and presenting their knowledge to others during reading and reading-related tasks. Teach collaborative group work skills such as appropriate group work behavior, how to provide feedback to group members, and maintaining individual accountability so that students benefit from working together. Use collaboration to foster a sense of belonging to the classroom community, according to Underman, 1999. Okay, next is the school-based or community reading or literacy programs. So the first, it is implemented during vacation, usually from August to September, along with the Brigada Eskwela. So community-based reading program, it is a community-based reading program since the stakeholders and other private individuals from the community are part of this. So alin ang tinutukoy ko? This is the Brigada Pagbasa. It is supported by the DepEd Memorandum Number 48, Series of 2001. So in addition, I've got this from the memo. The Brigada Pagbasa as part of Brigada Eskwela is an after-school reading program that envisions bringing together education partners and experts to help all learners read and become functionally literate. The Brigada Pagbasa will serve as a platform to synergize efforts and resources to address education-related challenges, especially on literacy and numeracy. It will also create opportunities for all stakeholders to contribute possible solutions to the current gaps in the country's education system, especially in equipping the learners with 21st century skills. So in addition, on Brigada Pagbasa, usually it is implemented during the summer class. So in addition, one of the secondary schools here in our division, the Bangkarwa National High School, they are implementing the Brigada Pagbasa Plus, wherein they are extending the program throughout the school year. They have a partnership with the Sangguniang Kabataan in our barangay, and they selected grade 7 students who were assessed and found out that they were poor readers, but they are also residing here in our barangay. And the teachers were that SK Council and selected high school students who also lives in the same barangay. So they are implementing this every weekend, and actually the teacher in high school who's in charge of this program also coordinated with our school head because they are planning to extend the program here in our school. They will adopt selected grade 5 and grade 6 pupil. So this is a big help na rin in our part. Though we also have the reading intervention program here in our school, they call it RICE, Reading Intervention. And they implement this after class and every Friday afternoon. Next is the Library Hub. It is established nationwide, in which a vast collection of book titles appropriate for children of various ages is located, and in which the books are circulated in schools and made part of the learning competencies of the children. So, this is supported by the DepEd Order number 75, series of 2008, which is the institutionalization of the maintenance and operation of library hubs. So we are following here in our division, we are following a schedule on when our school will borrow reading supplementary reading materials in the division library hub. So sometimes they deliver it here in our academic literacy instruction for adolescents, according to Torgersen et al. 2007, raises some additional key considerations in implementing reading interventions for adolescents. They are summarized below with the caveat that they are subject to variation depending on specific school and student needs. As with the other recommendations in this document, professionals will benefit from opportunities to learn more about each before implementing it. So I've got this also from first, adjust the focus and intensify of intervention according to individual student needs. Offer teachers in general education classrooms professional development and support in providing class-wide interventions in reading. Create ways for general education teachers and specialists to collaborate. So as an elementary teacher, with the power of observation and proper assessment and using an appropriate assessment tool, I will be able to identify the learning needs, especially in reading, and we were able to implement a proper intervention or appropriate reading materials and instruction. So we regularly evaluate all aspects to ensure that we are meeting the learning needs of our students. But as educators, we are always open to new learnings, new strategies and techniques just to cater the needs of our diverse learners. And that ends my discussion. Thank you.